The Cold War was hot for South Africa. While most of Europe was playing an elaborate game of chicken, the South African Defense Force, the SADF, was hard at work fighting the counterinsurgency battles of the future. In the process, they developed and refined many of the tactics and weapons and equipment still used today. From the 1960s to the 1990s, South Africa was involved in three major counterinsurgency wars: the Congo Crisis, the Rhodesian Bush War, and the Border War. Each of these conflicts was a unique combination of policing action, counterinsurgency, and full-scale warfare. Today we'll be taking a closer look at the unusual tactics of the SADF in honor of our reproduction of a three-part book series aptly titled Unconventional Warfare. Over the 23-year-long border war, the South African Defense Force developed some innovative and effective counterinsurgency techniques, not seen in many other theaters of war. From horse-mounted infantry patrols, dirt bikes and battle jackets, armored cars versus tanks, it was akin to Mad Max in the desert, with a healthy dash of South African ingenuity thrown in. From the development of modern web gear to the development of the mine-resistant, ambush-protected class of vehicles, abbreviated MRAPs, before they were even a twinkle in the eye of the U.S. Department of Defense. The 3 volumes of Unconventional Warfare, they cover a litany of strategies and techniques divided into, first, doctrine and legal aspects, second, unconventional warfare in urban areas, and finally, unconventional warfare in rural areas. The border war was fought primarily in Angola and on the border of Southwest Africa, modern-day Namibia. The initial stages of the conflict saw Marxist-backed Soviet insurgents known as the People's Liberation Army of Namibia, or PLAN, based in Angola, conducting a variety of terrorist attacks via cross-border raids. Whether it was ambushing security forces, murdering civilians suspected of collaborating with South Africa, or planting mines along roads, the PLAN continued to conduct increasingly aggressive attacks across the South African security forces and local population centers. The South Africans responded by militarizing the local police forces and fortified the border of Southwest Africa and Angola. However, with the added threat of mines along major roadways and the sheer distances involved hindering any effective minesweeping measures, the South Africans invented a new class of vehicles, the MRAP, mine-resistant, ambush-protected. With V-hull-shaped bottoms, they were immune to the TM-46 mines that were commonly used by the PLAN. Additionally, Convoy doctrine was created for the perceived threat level of the route. Divided into green, yellow, and red, the different colors indicated which security measures should be taken on different routes. Green roads typically were located in cities and towns, and South African personnel could travel on them alone and unarmed in relative safety. Yellow roads were where there was a limited risk of an ambush. In response, South African personnel were required to be armed, whether they were in civilian or military vehicles. If they were in military vehicles, they were required to have 2 people in them at all times to offset any potential ambushes. Red roads were where ambushes were highly likely. These situations called for an armed escort traveling with the vehicle, and if possible, convoys should also include an armored car escort as well. Movement should also be restricted to daylight hours only. Some of the most interesting showcases of tactical thinking from the South Africans were the cross-border raids to neutralize PLAN bases in Angola. With a rapid mobility, quick striking power, the South African Defense Force was able to rapidly pursue the PLAN into Angola in order to destroy their forward operating bases. This had an unintentional side effect of bringing the South Africans into direct conflict with Cuban soldiers that were deployed in Angola in order to help quell Angola's ongoing civil war. Due to the likelihood of extended stays in the bush, the South Africans came up with several different contingency plans for any soldiers that may end up in a survival situation if they were separated from their unit. Whether it was recommended means and methods for trapping game, or locations to source water, or even recommended camouflaging techniques for building a hide. Additionally, when dealing with longer jaunts out in the bush, the SADF typically set up patrol bases in order to maintain close contact with insurgents. Diagrams are included detailing best practices for placement of light machine guns, how to set up a patrol base perimeter, and proper patrolling techniques to ensure a protected base. The unique nature of the South African border war resulted in numerous tactical and technical innovations when it came to dealing with an insurgency. This 3-part volume provides a unique look into the nature in which South Africa conducted warfare, and for the first time, it's now being printed here in the United States. If you enjoy content like this, be sure to join Commando Pro at commandostore.com/signup for exclusive email content and a 1% lifetime discount on our whole site. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.